my God. Have you guys seen the news today? Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? If you haven't, well, we're going to break it down amongst other things. Massive announcement for Futureverse, big acquisition. Get into all the details, but if this is your first time tuning in and watching, first of all, thank you so much. My name is The Schiller, and we have been talking about NFTs, crypto, Web3, all that kind of stuff for the past several years. And things are getting exciting again. We have some negative news, of course, as per usual. Listen, as per usual, we got some negativity we got to go over as well. But damn it, we got some positive happenings as well. So if you haven't seen, big news. Futureverse has officially announced the acquisition of Candy Digital, bringing huge brands like MLB, DC Official, Netflix, Getty Images, and more to the Root Network. Yo, I'm Tolly. Are you having a great morning? I'm having a great morning. So from Axios, within this, Futureverse has acquired Candy Digital, an NFT startup with partners like Major League Baseball, Netflix, DC Comics. Executives exclusively tell Axios. Why it matters. The 4-year-old startup, which emerged in the NFT boom times, has found a home as part of a larger metaverse company. Apologies for the bird in the background. We're going to just run with it. Fanatics CEO Michael Rubin, Galaxy Digital founder Mike Novogratz, and entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk. Anybody remember this? All right. 12 and a half. The NFT book from Gary Vaynerchuk? Yeah, you do. Launched Candy with the MLB as its first partner in 2021. And I remember when the announcement happened, it felt like, I don't even know how to describe it. If I'm remembering, and it's like an accurate memory, it felt like it was kind of like, okay, like this is happening, but it didn't seem like there was a lot of excitement around it. It's just like a whole bunch of people with a ton of money came together and were like, yeah, we're going to do NFTs. And this was, I think at the same time that Gary had the V-Friends going on, but it was like just them, like three, like talking in a room. I don't know why. I kind of have vague memory of that happening. The startup later launched with Netflix for Stranger Things, NASCAR, and WWE. It also began working with DC Comics through its merger with Palm NFT Studio. So this is the part that is sort of odd about this, because Palm NFT Studio, I remember being like a full-on blockchain, but then at some point it pivoted and it became like its own entity or like a very closed circuit specific studio. And there was never a way for you to have self-custody of your NFTs. You were siloed within that specific platform, kind of like NBA Top Shot. Yo, Hoonsy, what's going on, Brumalachi? What are we doing? Have you played Cambria yet? That is the question. Bro, some guy today asked me about like my tattoos. He's like, yo, how long have you had your tattoos for? I was like, a while. They're like, cool. I'm like, that was a riveting conversation. Why? What are we doing? Anyway, follow the money. Candy raised $100 million Series A at a $1.5 billion valuation, co-led by Insight Partners and Softball in 2021. So going back, we did a stream, and you'd have to scroll a hell of a long time on like the live feed on YouTube to find it. But we went through a ton of the top raises at one point from all of the companies, and I don't actually think Candy Digital was mentioned on any single one of them. But 100 million will put them like in the top 5, I believe, comparatively, if not top 3. So I don't remember that at all, but crazy that they were able to pull in so much. They've gotten the partners, but yeah, some people are like, there wasn't a whole lot more that happened except for the fact that they had the IP, they were going through the motions. It didn't feel like they really caught the stride that one would think when you say, hey, we have Netflix, NASCAR, WWE, DC Comics, and MLB. You know what I mean? But in 2023, Fanatics sold its 60% stake, with Rubin saying in an internal email, over the past year, it has become clear that the NFTs are unlikely to be sustainable or profitable as a standalone business. It is like maybe the stupidest thing I think I've ever seen in my life, to be honest, right? When you have rights to sports, like with NBA Top Shot or MLB, you have the footage already. Listen, I know there's more behind the scenes. I'm making it seem like it's kind of easy, but really, you're putting together clips, you have these animations, you have something, and you could sell however many you want. So you have a single image or video that you can sell potentially 10,000 times. How the hell is that not sustainable or profitable? Sure, from the sustainable aspect, maybe there's like way too much dilution within it, but even if you go down to $1, sell 10,000 of a single player's moment, well, that's $10,000. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that it's not that expensive to have that singular moment. Now, okay, maybe we get into, player cuts, rights deals, whatever, fees, et cetera, et cetera. But that's just a stupid comment, in my humble opinion. Candy raised a Series A1 led by Galaxy and Consensus Mesh in 2023 for an undisclosed sum. So that's kind of nuts. They raised $100 million. And then, like 2 years later, they needed to raise again? Like, what's going on? Why are we just burning money? Why are we just burning money in Web3? It's crazy. Zoom in, Futureverse CEO Aaron McDonald says the companies are aligned in wanting to use technology to give fans new experiences. Futureverse formed in 2022 as the merger of 8 metaverse companies. It raised a $54 million Series A at $700 million pre-money valuation in 2023. Revenue comes from content, subscriptions, and APIs for tools and services it provides to brands. Silo. Okay, listen, I am like the only person on the internet talking about that, and holy smokes, we might be right. With Candy Digital as part of our ecosystem, that means that 4 million plus digital collectibles and 1.5 million accounts are coming to the Root network. Candy's premium content and massive fan base will bring new opportunities for rewards, community building, and more. So that's one of the comments, I guess, from people within the Futureverse community, myself included, of, hey, we have these experiences. These games haven't really been successful in terms of like any sort of adoption that Futureverse has launched. But the founders and the team keep talking about all these big partnerships. And, well, okay, there we go. That's a pretty big one and cool to see that. Candy themselves making the announcement saying, exciting news, Candy fans. What does this mean for you? More interactive moments. More ways to engage with your fandom. Self-custody is coming soon, and interoperability unlocked. So Ready Player One, it is coming to life. And at the same time of this acquisition, sort of interesting, Netflix and Amazon are expected to hold meetings with the UFC almost right away. Why? The UFC's exclusive negotiation window with ESPN expired today. So does Netflix get another big brand that's coming through? And I remember at a point, Pixel Vault was partnered with the UFC. They were supposed to do comics. They were supposed to highlight the fighters and whatnot. And then something happened with that because at VCon, funny enough, by Gary V, there was like an announcement with Dana White that was, hey, we're doing all these things. So it was sort of strange that didn't end up happening, but UFC potentially on the table. And if it's through Netflix, well. All right, CoinDesk, just quickly looking through here. Do they got any cool headlines? Bitcoin's true capitulation zone is 65K. Let's just stop saying that stuff, okay? Mantra plans comprehensive burn program of Ohm following 90% crash. Yeah, welcome to Web3. Gotta love that one. Coinbase revenue trading outlook hit by tariff tensions. Okay. Crypto winter appears to have arrived with Bitcoin. Top 50 coins falling into bear market territory. Just negativity, and more negativity. We're out here in NFT land going, la, la, la. You know what I mean? As someone who's made all his money in SaaS tech, AI agents are the biggest opportunity in decades. AI is completely underhyped right now. I'm all in. That said, AI is so undervalued, it's disgusting. It will be the most explosive vertical here very soon. It's not going to be a buzzword here soon. It'll be in demand in the same way we demand electricity. Go absolutely all in. Nah, listen, that's not financial advice, obviously, but we harp on this a little bit. I do think that it's going to be massively transformative. And for anyone that is not actively using certain AI tools or experimenting or not having it like integrate within their day-to-day life, is just not realizing, because anybody that's out there that's tried certain things, that's done these tools, it's like, you know what? Some of them are like kind of close, or maybe certain components are bad, but there's also like, oh my God, this makes tasks 100 times faster. This is like an enhancement. It's not like a negativity in any way. You can just do everything 100 times quicker. And it's great. And so I kind of agree with Becker here. True. Okay, so kind of negative news out of Wolfgang. Hoonsie just went all in. Now what? Now we ordered some DoorDash, baby. True. Based on community feedback, we will be halting Wolf Game 2.0 and liquidity will be removed from the Soul token. Holy smokes. G-Funk is currently in a meeting with the Farmhands Council working toward the next steps for Wolf Game. Based on these discussions and with the FHC support, we'll be communicating the proposal to the broader community shortly thereafter. If you participated in this latest rendition of Wolf Game, we thank you for giving it a shot. Rest assured, we'll be returning any assets you staked or burned within it. So this is a super weird one where like I'm not really across Wolf Game at all. But it sounds like there was a proposal that was put forth of, we want to do this with Wolf Game, put it on Solana, do all these things. And the Wolf Game community was like, yeah, this might be a bad idea. And they went with it anyway. And the backlash was so awful because basically it made all of the ETH in the original tokens for Wool pointless, or you had to vest for several years based off things I saw on the timeline. And it was just a really, really bad show overall. So I think G-Funk's now focusing more on Pixel Vault, but Pixel Vault acquired Wolf Game, and I think it's still a part of it. So I guess G-Funk's is not focusing on Wolf Game itself, but it's still a part of Pixel Vault. I don't know. There's always some kind of drama going on in Web3, but it's interesting. Justin, Panama City, Panama. Wait, what's the song? I'm trying to think in my head. I wanted to sing the song, and then I can't remember. I think it's called Panama City, though. I don't know the lyrics. Panama City Council votes to become the first government institution to accept crypto payments. You got to pay your taxes. Do it in crypto. Hell yeah, bro. This morning, a huge mistake was made. So before we get into this, have you guys ever used like the trade function? Or sorry, it's called a deal. It's called a deal on OpenSea. There's a guy that's trying to sell me Harden.eth, like James Harden. We're not going to talk about the NBA Top Shot moment from way back in the day. If you know, you know. But somebody's like, give me like 4 ETH and a whole bunch of these other assets, and I'll give you like Harden.eth. I'm like, why do I want Harden.eth? Like, what are we talking about here? So this morning, a huge mistake was made. A Bored Ape crown and 25 ETH has been exchanged for a Gemesis. So Gemesis is like 0.03, and it's like the token from OpenSea that like allegedly is going to help with the airdrop. Cosmin, wag me. True. Good morning. Good afternoon. Love that you're here. And I don't know how they did it, but they did the crown and 25 ETH for like themselves for a single one. Yo, island boy. I'm just an island boy. What's going on? How you doing? Yo, you doing good? Love seeing you too. Hope you're well. So somebody basically just lost a whole bunch of money. I don't understand how in the hell this ends up happening. Maybe this is a tax loss. I got no idea. Yo, Siki, what's up? Yo, holy smokes. Everybody's coming through here. Hope you are well as well. Have you noticed that there's just like constant conversations about like everything being a Ponzi? All of a sudden, it felt like it started with Bitcoin and now just like everything is called that. Gokina 2021 type deal. Yo. Gokina was the guy that was in the Futureverse server way back when. And I don't even know how it worked because the guy made an absolute killing in crypto, but I think he was under like the age of 18 or something. And so he had to go through like his parents for like taxes, withdrawing all the money and all that kind of stuff. But that guy hit it huge. And I remember, what's going on with Gokina? We were from a while. Wag me, wag you, wag all of us except this guy. Hell yeah. All right. So Killer Bears, this is an odd collection because this was, I don't know why. I don't know if you ever had those moments of like, you know what? I see that collection and I feel like I should buy it. And then I didn't at one point, but I thought they were kind of cool for whatever reason, and then they went for like a couple ETH, and I was like, well, son of a bitch, I should have bought it. But with that said, I haven't actually seen them on the timeline in a little bit, but they have this bots token, which is going for like an 8 mil market cap. Let's try to check it out. They have FOMO bots. So it's an MPL 404 experience produced in partnership with Mutant Labs and Metaplex. Acquire gearboxes, merge them to instantly gain bot token. The more robots and gearboxes in your wallet, the more prizes you're eligible for. Stay tuned for daily rewards in game. It's just always like rewards and cool stuff happening within Web3. Yeah, I'm probably not going to like jump into this or whatever. People are calling this a Ponzi. If you're having fun, you do you. You know what I mean? So back to the OM token. OM. Not to be confused with like OHM from before. If you know, you know. The CEO is saying that they are going to burn their team tokens, and they're going to create a comprehensive burn program for other parts of the ohm supply. I don't know how to react to these sort of things because it feels like within crypto, there's always this default of we're just going to burn all the tokens. Now, it's a little bit of a different situation because there was a reason that this ultimately failed. If you guys hadn't seen this drop like a bajillion market cap in like an hour, and people are losing their minds on the timeline over it. But I mean, what do you do as a founder? Hey, we have this product, something went horrible with leverage player, something associated with, you know, the team, whatever it may be. They've said like it's not the team. There's all these comprehensive guides and whatnot, not accusing them of anything, but just it's like, how do you exactly recover from the public eye after such a situation? You partner with KFC and you launch some toothpaste. That's what you do. You guys know apparently they got toothpaste and toothbrushes for sale at KFC. I don't know if people are not buying chicken anymore, but oh my goodness. Unreal. Fried chicken toothpaste. There's no way that's healthy. There is no way that's healthy. Okay, so tomorrow we're actually going to do a stream with Matt Bartlett. We're going to have like a little bit more of a focus on abstract. So Matt is building out segment, which we've highlighted a ton about the RWA Segments podcast, and we've talked with a whole slew of people throughout the industry. And on Tuesday, we posted a highlight guide, if you will. And yo, who's he coming through for a 46 months? Unbelievable.
Sue Tolley.
Yo, yeah, did M. Tolley leave? Guy shows up, says, dude, and then exits the stream immediately. True. So tomorrow we're going to have Matty B on, but he gives a little bit of an update or take on what he feels. When I asked him, yo, what's your take on something that you feel, yeah, I'm building for the future?
This week, I had a chance to test out our fishing game that we're going to have launched in the next couple weeks. And not to oversell it.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
It's very fun, and I could see it being the future of commerce, where you have this cashback incentive like gamification aspect to a everyday consumer website where people are motivated to come back for more. They're enjoying the purchase experience. It's not so transactional. It just adds a bit of fun. So I think seeing more of that, this is why people have liked the gotcha machines and vending machines and other mechanisms that are similar to this, and why they're sort of gaining some ground and certainly getting people's attention across Web3 and hopefully beyond Web3.
So talking about abstract, we'll play a little bit of Cambria, and I think he's going to also rip some Vibes TCG packs. So that's going to be tomorrow, and I believe that's at 4 p.m. Eastern if you feel like setting any alarms. So question for you, right? Do you watch any sports, right? Let's talk about NBA. Let's talk about hockey doesn't really, well, they have jersey. Yeah, they have jersey sponsors on hockey now. I thought that was like, I think this year was the first year they ended up doing that. But across the world, especially for soccer, there's a jersey sponsor. And OpenSea, I think this is just like a custom homemade, like, hey, here's a jersey that's kind of cool to wear. But the question is, similar to how we saw sports arenas around the globe have Crypto.com, Binance Arena, whatever the hell that it is, do we see more crypto protocols, projects, companies as a whole advertise in more traditional means? Or is it just everything going to be done digitally? These are the things we're going to see. And I mean, for like MLB as an example, with the partnership with Futureverse, and if you guys are tuning in a little bit late, we went over a bunch of the details earlier in the stream, so you might want to go back to check that if you're here specifically for that. But thank you so much for tuning in. Was there a push at all where MLB had, hey, you know, like, come check out Candy Digital? I think they did on their X. I don't know if there was much on the live broadcast for NBA Top Shot. I know that they were in arenas at points, but there was also a lot of backlash from the community saying, oh, you guys have such an opportunity. You should be at all these events. You should do all these things. And, you know, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. In quotes, you just got lucky. The luck, us staying up all hours of the night. We're doing our research. We're coming up with hypotheses, theses, all of it. We're calling Hoonsy saying, do you want to play league to give myself a break? And you're like, hell yeah, brother. Unbelievable. True. It's exciting. Super, super pumped to see everything that happens here in 2025 across the entire crypto and AI space. Woke up to this feature by Cointelegraph. Wow. I've been like painfully addicted to Cambria. It's super fun. They're labeling it like Web3 RuneScape, and I think we've got like a couple different games that are a part of that. This is, you have a character, you have like 14 days to level it. You got a whole bunch of different skill sets. You got like PvP aspects of it, PvE aspects, crafting, skilling, all that kind of stuff. It is stupidly fun. And I've really been enjoying it. And so the article is titled, "Is Cambria Season 2 the riskiest, most addictive crypto game of 2025 Web3 gamer?" Now, I have to admit, I haven't really tried a bajillion different games. So I've only had a couple, right? But listen, it's got me hooked. Like a fish on the hook type of deal. We got that going on. Yo, Navi, good morning. How are we? How are we in the morning? So again, we've talked a little bit about the RWA Segments podcast, and yesterday we did upload, today's Wednesday, right? Oh my God, why am I looking this up? Yes, it's Wednesday. We uploaded the highlight episode. Yo, John Lemon, what's up? We talked about you the other day with the Netflix series when that was, you guys were sharing the screen caps from that. I love to see it. But we talked with Courtyard. If you guys have seen the platform that's tokenizing Pokemon cards, we got the entire backstory about how Nicholas Lejeune spent $500,000 on Pokemon cards, took a loan from a friend. They seeded the entire platform, and it ended up becoming a massive hit. So we have conversations with that, and this is like a highlight episode, so you get just specifically that clip. If you know Rolling Loud, the music festival, oh my goodness, they got lifetime access to all their concerts globally. We talked with Ronald Deluise, who's their head of Web3. They capped all of their ETH from that mint. Still to this day. It's unbelievable. It's super cool info. We also talk with Nick Grossi from What Is This Studio, doing What Is the Sorcery TCG from the Abstract chain. And we get into about how hard it is for crypto games to get on Epic Games and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's like a 40-minute episode. You're going for a drive, going to the gym. Would love for you guys to listen to that. It's a banger. Yo, Snazzy. Check out Raven Quest if you're loving Cambria. I don't know if Roar's here, but Snazzy, you just made a best friend in Roar, because that man has been all over that. But good to see you. Hope you're well. John Lemon. Oh, that was really cool to see. Maybe Rate made it in there too. You should check. So, oh God, I don't even know if we should bring this up. So I remember back in the third. I'm trying to think. One of the Ape Fests. The one with like Eminem. I don't know if that was the second or the third one, but the one where there was like Eminem, they had Amy Schumer, New York Pier, all that kind of jazz. There was a production team that was doing a documentary on Bored Ape Yacht Club. And so they had various people coming into the studio and they interviewed us. And I was there. I had blonde hair at the time. I genuinely don't really remember what I said, but I remember thinking, man, I have to come up with like a zinger line of some sort for this. And I don't know why I thought that. And I said something along the lines of like, yeah, when people say that they degen, but they only put like $10 in something random, nah, like degen means you go all in or something stupid like that. And I'm like, you know, one day that documentary series is going to come out. There's somebody online that's going to be like, this guy's an asshole. And I'm just going to get laced online for it. Maybe I'm wrong. But I remember doing that conversation, and they hit me up actually the other day, and that's why I'm remembering it, because they asked us like, yo, do you have any clips or things from back in like the early days? And we have like the full stream of what the original Bored Ape Mint was. My voice sounds ridiculous. The chat was absolutely flying. We bought the ape that ended up doing the reveal. It was all sorts of craziness. And it's funny though, because thinking about the glory days, if you will, of like early 2021, I saw somebody post on the timeline the other day that Bored Ape Yacht Club and OniForce are two of the communities that are most crossed over, because OniForce was one of the first collections that started the blue chip run. And I was like, I thought we stopped using the term blue chip, but if we're bringing it back, okay, but like, let me know. We got to decide on the verbiage, right? We're still calling it NFTs. Do we call things blue chips, or is that completely off the table? But then going back to, we went over on stream one point. I need to go find the graphic, but it was crazy because it was like the Bored Ape Mint happened, and then there was Gutter Cat Gang, and then there was like House of Kiba at some point within there. Did any of you guys have House of Kiba? It was a $500 membership. And trying to think of like, they promised like the metaverse experience. They were working with Gutter Cat Gang to create like a 3D metaverse. They were doing all of these things. And then Kiba left for some reason. There was another guy that took over. They launched a show with the X Gen or whatever the hell they were called, with like the Big Show as a star within it. The thing was a complete flop. And then we never saw anything. But a weird backstory too for anybody that was really into NBA Top Shot. If you remember Judge, I don't know if Judge streams anymore. But he bought one of those Kiba Genesis houses, passes, whatever it was. But he had it in the wrong wallet, but he thought that he got hacked. So I helped him move all of his assets, and then he realized that he just needed to like click on a wallet and move, like he just had the thing sitting there. And then I was at VCon, and then the guy was like outside the washroom doing an interview. And I was like, man, this guy's a grinder. And then I think he got hired somewhere in like fantasy sports, but he stopped streaming. I was like, what's going on? It's weird to think about all the people that were like doing content, streaming, and all that kind of stuff that just like aren't anymore. My understanding with this is that it was finished in 2023, but then Netflix recently bought it. So that's why we didn't see it until now. Huh. Well, it also sounded like the Netflix series or show itself wasn't very like derogatory towards NFTs, because that's something you have. I was hanging out one day and I got a message from somebody that's local. I did my college internship with them, and he's like, hey, I just watched this video and you're in it. And the title was something about like Bored Ape Yacht Club and the disaster. And I was like, oh God. And it like starts off with the clip of me looking at the camera being like, so we're going to talk about Bored Ape Yacht Club that just minted. And then the guy just goes on like a 30-minute rant saying Bored Apes, NFTs, and everything are scams. I'm like, I don't think I gave permission for my clip to be used in this slander. What are we doing? I mean, it was whatever. I need to go back and find it. Hold on. I'm trying to think of like, what the hell was the... Oh, I remember the guy's name. If the messages still work, we are going to find something ridiculous. Oh my God, I found it. Oh my God, I found it.
What you're looking at.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready for a banger? Oh my Lord. Okay. 2901 is what they said. 2901. Okay, so this is a video. Oh, goodness gracious. This is a video with 6.9 million views from 2 years ago. Crypto, the world's greatest scam.
1,250. And all the time these guys are tweeting about their purchases to their followers, it starts to create this buzz inside of the crypto space.
You've probably seen all over Twitter this crazy, crazy thing with apes.
Just after 12 hours of its official launch, the Basie collection sold out, giving Yuga Labs an estimated $2.8 million in revenue. Pranksy starts selling some of his apes to NBA players who start tweeting and changing their profile pictures to those apes. In August, the popular DJ Steve Aoki tweets his own $40,000 purchase of a Bored Ape to his millions of followers.
Hashtag ape, follow ape began trending immediately.
Famous digital artist people tweeting about it and creating an artwork about it, which continue to drive up the price of Bored Apes.
You ape, me ape, friend.
One of the shadiest parts.
Wait, hold on. Wasn't that the super massive or whatever? Based AF. That was the based AF guy.
Everything that followed were the blurred lines between celebrities and influencers clearly manipulating a market to pump up the value of their NFTs, and genuine posts simply just showing off their purchases. You had Justin Bieber in January of this year posting a picture of a Bored Ape number 3001 to his 250.
Okay, hold on a second. So we'll watch like a little bit of this, but I want to like kind of go through and Money Match, what's going on, you beauty? How are you? So there was a clip of Justin Bieber
and genuine posts simply just showing off their purchases. You had Justin Bieber. Okay,
so you see this right here. I brought it up a couple times, but this is actually like super relevant because I don't think it's like a thing. Wow, it might still be a thing, but they went and they pivoted to doing in-betweeners. They went to doing like a huge push for like meme coins. It was really kind of stupid, to be honest. But I mean, I think they were trying to capture the attention at the time. So again, Justin Bieber was advocating for this at the time and ended up having 12,000 ETH in volume. I don't know if many people really knew what the collection was at the time. If you do, listen, you're a beauty. But 0.029 floor, and it was like, this guy is supposed to be the artist for Justin Bieber. Sign our newsletter, reject in-betweeners, summer from the past, shop now. What happened to the special projects, collections, t-shirt? Yeah, so it was like a clothing brand. $252 for this shirt. $121 for that. You guys, what do you think? 120. What are we doing? Unbelievable. You can buy pizza, call bear. 130. Like, it's just insane. Insane.
Bieber in January of this year, posting a picture of a Bored Ape number 3001 to his 251.
So apparently he spent $500,000 on this ape. And the quote within this: what if you had it all, but nobody to call? Maybe then you'd know me, because I've had everything, but no one's listening, and that's just effing lonely. Hashtag lonely bored ape. Interesting. Don't remember that one, actually. I don't know if it was bought at the peak of all the madness, or if it was, because I feel like they were starting to trend down, and that sale happened, and it made no sense, because it was an average ape by all means, but it's a lonely bored ape.
1 million followers, a purchase that was reportedly worth $1.3 million. Everyone sort of assumes that Justin was the one that made the purchase himself, right? And he's just posting it on his Instagram. But then Twitter users started to look into the records, and they find that Justin's supposed crypto wallet had received 900 Ether from another wallet address. And that wallet address was associated with an individual named Gianpiero D'Alessandro.
And that's the artist from In-Betweeners.
Or, as many others may recognize him, Justin Bieber's business partner. And Gianpiero owned his own NFT collection called In-Betweeners, which Bieber had been promoting on social media already. In those posts, no disclaimer was made suggesting that Bieber had been paid to promote them.
I just got my first NFT.
Oh, you did? What was it?
Through MoonPay.
Well, okay, so I mean, that's like it's kind of like a gray area. Like, if you're working with somebody who's doing your artist, like, I'm pretty sure that guy did like the whole Drew line. I could be completely wrong with this, so don't take that for fact, but if they're working directly, like, I don't know why you would need to like disclose that, except for here when Jimmy Fallon talks about MoonPay, like Post Malone, Paris Hilton, all those artists and whatnot. I think other than Justin Bieber, it could be him as well, but MoonPay paid for all of it, and that CEO made an absolute bag.
Pay.
In some of the announcements from celebrities about their NFT purchases, there was this constant reference to a company called MoonPay, thanking them for help with purchasing their NFTs.
I got an ape too, because I saw you on the show with people and you said you got a MoonPay.
Turns out, MoonPay was a company that was launched in 2019, which according to their website had one singular aim: to increase cryptocurrency adoption. So that begs the question, what is the relationship between MoonPay and the supposed celebrities and influencers there helping buy NFTs?
Real talk, not once, not twice, 3 times I've been offered a Bored Ape through MoonPay. And there was an NDA they tried to send my agent and shit too. You know, they wanted you to not disclose that they had purchased the ape for it.
Isn't it a little shady that you have the CEO of MoonPay, a guy called Ivan Soto Wright, who is an active participant in the NFT market, who is clearly well connected to the celebrities using his company's service, who has access to insider information and likely knows when celebrities may purchase an NFT before they do it. And surprise, surprise, people started finding out that Wright on numerous occasions has purchased NFT projects right before celebrities end up purchasing them. Prominent crypto skeptic and author David Gerard had this post on his blog. It was titled, "Crypto Grifters Try to Scam Artists Again." He wrote, "The NFT grift works like this. 1. Tell artists there's a gusher of free money.
NFTs are the future. If you want to get an NFTs, you're guaranteed to make some money because it's new, it's fresh.
2. They need to buy into crypto to get the gusher of free money. 3. They become crypto advocates."
Whoa. Okay, hold on a second. Back to Hoonsy's comment saying about Steve Aoki being the top. So Steve Aoki, the DJ, I'm assuming you guys know, but big musician, he started just accumulating a ton of NFTs and got like a ton of traction over it, but then also launched NFTs themselves. And I think Snoop Dogg, I remember he bought his Bored Ape at a point and then decided to make a whole brand around it as well. But then Snoop Dogg launched with every single different sandbox collection thing they were able to do. It was ridiculous. Yo, Young Algae coming through on the 8 months. Holy stuff, friend, talking that. What are we doing? Doing the 8 months. That's what we're doing. Unreal. Are you excited about the announcement today with Futureverse? Holy smoke. We got MLB. We got WWE. What are we partying in the metaverse? So this, I actually think is like somewhat right? So when we talk about artists, it's not the art. Yo, LG coming through with a whole bunch of gifters. Oh my goodness. And we got the NBA Top Shot logo coming through. Yo, that sounder I haven't seen in forever. We made the pack rips. Hoonsy, were you the one that made that, or was that Risk? I haven't seen that in forever. Yo, Mr. Young, thank you. Appreciate that. I hope you're doing well. As per usual, legend. So yeah, when we talk about artists, I mean, I think they're talking about like musicians here, right? Like it's not necessarily artists that are, you know, artists per se. It's a musician sign. They need to buy into crypto to get the usher. We just went over that. They become crypto advocates and makes excuses for proof of work. And I mean, I don't know about like the excuses here, but I think like, yeah, they all become advocates, but let's continue.
And make excuses for proof of work and so on. 4, a few artists really are making life-changing money from this. 5, you probably won't be one of them. It's sold to you as this amazing thing where art is digitally verified on the blockchain. And that pitch makes you think...
Okay, so I stand corrected. He is talking about like artists as a whole, even though he just did his whole pitch on musicians.
That on the blockchain, when you purchase an NFT, there's literally an entry that shows your wallet and the actual image of the NFT you purchased right there. You want to know what is actually the case with most NFTs? There is no picture attached to the transaction. Instead, it's usually a HTTPS or IPFS link containing the stored NFT image. So what you're purchasing with most NFTs is just an entry in a database that contains a link to the image that anyone else can also access. A little misleading to call that ownership. But I guess at the end of the day, that doesn't matter when, just like ICOs, NFTs were just another speculative financial investment to throw your money into. And to do that, you had to buy into cryptocurrencies. More money funneled into the machine.
I mean, so this is painted in like a pretty bad light, but I mean, like, I'm trying to think. Do you guys remember back when like the world shut down for 2 years? You guys play Warzone? Yeah, I played Warzone like every day, almost all day. It was fun time, and hope you guys are enjoying Verdansk if you are out there grinding on Warzone. Again, no, I've seen some of your clips on the timeline, so I'm figuring you're out there doing that. But the aspect of like you had to put money into crypto, I think that, you know, there was just like a larger bubble that transpired of everybody being online looking for something new. We literally couldn't do anything else, so it was like a perfect timing sort of situation.
My experience of looking into crypto communities and its culture and various projects, there is this game that is being played. Some are blatant about it and others less so, but the game is this. Everyone is playing a role in promoting their project, calling it revolutionary, saying that this isn't like the others, but ultimately,
I mean, they just showed the Plague there. I mean, Plague is doing a whole bunch of stuff where they gave ownership for the company. They're doing a whole bunch of like ethically sourced coffee, and they're still doing stuff. So it's funny as hell that he's using like a reference of somebody's post of promising all these things, but like the Plague has actually done it.
ultimately, everyone knows that at some point, they're going to sell. And perhaps it is because of the greater full nature of the crypto ecosystem where everyone is incentivized to keep putting money into the system and to keep pushing it while simultaneously dismissing criticism. On the surface, everything is supposed to be positive and optimistic. You have catchphrases and actions that are commonly used in cryptocurrency communities. HODL, short for hold on for dear life, which refers to holding on to your crypto assets no matter what. HODLing is seen as a good thing.
Today we're going to be talking about the art of the hold.
WAGMI, short for we're all going to make it, which is used as both a greeting and an easy catchphrase to keep morale high.
We're all gonna make it, and I say this with passion and confidence. If you leave the market, if you give up, you will lose. That is the ultimate failure.
We're still early is a sentiment often echoed in crypto communities, an encouraging message for those who are both new and old in the space, letting them know that they haven't missed out on the opportunity and further riches are on the horizon. Don't abandon hope.
Is it too late to get into crypto? No, never. It's never too late. It's actually too early. It's extremely early still.
Those who
That was the best flight ever. Hold on.
further riches are on the horizon, don't abandon hope.
Is it too late to get into crypto? No, never. It's never too late. It's actually too early. It's extremely early still.
Those who hold on to their crypto assets, even when there is really good reason to sell, are called diamond hands.
Diamond hands is actually a requirement.
Keep diamond handing, okay?
A positive trait that is encouraged, whereas those who do sell are labeled paper hands, a negative trait, which is actively discouraged.
The worst part about paper-handed investors is that it influences other people to grow paper on their hands.
Most crypto communities are encouraged to say good morning and good night to each other.
The good morning, good night thing is still like absolutely prevalent, but you know, I was thinking about it because the first time they said it, I was like, you know, that sounds kind of like funny and almost like stupid in a way, but you know, you're totally right. Like it is almost like too early to the point where this over the good morning, good night thing. They've really nailed like the lingo and all of this, but it is true that what we've seen is there are so many things that happened or were said, and a lot of it hasn't come to fruition. But at the same time, now, I mean, we were talking earlier on the stream where governments, right? I forget what country it was, but they're now having like crypto payments being able to be like fully accepted for things. I mean, Vancouver out in Canada was having like a meeting the other day about like accepting crypto for taxes as well. And there's a lot of components of it that's like, we can see where the future was going, but there was too much speculation or not the right technology or not the right people involved with helping that move forward or not the right environment, right? Because when all of this stuff kind of really, really blew up and we've had cycles and whatnot, but it kind of distracted everybody where, you know, this is the future. So it's true, but let's keep going.
Every day, shortened to just a GM and GN, kind of like a regular check-in and check-out with members. Negativity is usually handled in the same way, since one group's negativity can actually devalue a project and affect everyone else's ability to make money. If there's some bad news about a particular cryptocurrency project or cryptocurrencies in general, it can be dismissed as FUD, an abbreviation for fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
We have someone that, again, is trying to spread FUD.
I just couldn't sit idly by and let people FUD my investment and FUD the leader of my investment.
Or those who criticize are told, you simply don't understand, without any further elaboration. Or they're told to have fun staying poor, which is a not so subtle nod to people's true intentions within the space. Or criticism is actually spun into a good thing for the project. These are all very convenient actions to encourage when keeping someone engaged and hopeful in a crypto project is financially beneficial to everyone else.
I'm actually struck by how much the general public really hates it when someone gets into NFTs and they just have an absolute adverse reaction. I see this across industries.
The NFT mania did something. I think it grew so big and so in your face from influencers and celebrities that it started making people mad.
So proud. I love being a part of this community and being a voice and sharing my platform and just getting the word out there.
What community? What are you guys talking about? You don't fucking care about this. I hate that they try to put on that they care about this.
Bored Ape.
Okay, so this is actually a good point where like did the celebrities actually care or were the fact that they were just making money off of it? I mean, like everybody here, we were in the communities, we were talking with people, we were excited about it, and maybe these celebrities were within their like own inner circles and they didn't want to be like in the public for whatever reason, right? Trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But again, I mean, for the people that were in the trenches, I mean, I think we were. I mean, like to the point, like John Lemon saying Curry still got his BAYC through his in his X. Pretty cool. So like that's an example of like there was people that were out there that seemingly were like actually interested, but then other ones were fly by night. Let's get it while it's hot and then hit the road.
Club NFTs, which I think are ugly, dumb, cringe.
Thank you guys for allowing me to scream about NFT cartoons. I hate this stuff. It's getting worse.
Check this out. I got a board bunny. And not only is it a board bunny, but it looks like me. Look at that.
Nothing makes people hate you faster than NFT shilling.
If you're young and naive, just like my brother, and want to get into NFTs, you should check out Board Bunny.
The new Board Bunny NFT project has now been classified
as a scam.
Welcome David Dobrik to the long list of influencers promoting scams, further claiming the team has disappeared with $6 million.
It's great to be a part of this project. I love the designs inspired by Pokemon.
It's a Pokemon knockoff. It's just like stealing money from people who are fans of Pokemon.
So this is, Izzy, it's almost always performative. Yeah. Well, so this is also another like further conversation with some of the stuff, because they're highlighting a bunch of celebrities that are highlighting these tokens. And we've seen this recently this past year with the Hawk Tua girl. And if you don't know the story, basically, I mean, she's not the only one, but we've had a whole bunch of celebrities that have gone and launched meme coins of various sorts to then say, oh, the team, rugged, or my socials were hacked. Hawk True. And do you say, all right, these celebrities are innocent and their team actually took advantage of them? I don't think that's the case. 90%. And I mean, for the Hawk Tua girl, the amount of people with genuine intentions trying to say, hey, I don't know who gave you the sales pitch if you're going to make a whole bunch of money on this, but don't do it. Like a bunch of public comments directly to her. So unless somebody else was running her socials, right, and she never saw that, she needed to be painfully aware of that. And so do we let them plead ignorance, or are these people just friends with a whole bunch of scammy individuals?
Y'all better not miss this.
They promised Pokemon partnerships, and it was all a lie, and it ended up raking in $6.3 million.
For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project.
So the project is called CryptoZoo.
I believe is going to change the game.
CryptoZoo, Logan Paul's newest project, are basically a bunch of stock photos from Adobe that have been poorly photoshopped.
Non-fungible tokens, yes?
I do know what they are, but I don't really like them at all, really. I'm not really into them.
Nobody seems to like NFTs. We didn't find anybody who actually had anything positive to say about them.
Whenever a big celebrity or influencer would post something related to NFTs on their social media, you'd see a whole slew of people responding with, oh no, not you too. And this wasn't just limited to individuals either. Companies began getting a lot of flack for even talking about or dabbling into NFTs.
In 2021, people found out what cryptocurrency actually was, and they hate it. It is all get-rich-quick schemes promoted using technology as the cover. All of it. That's what crypto is. And NFT is the latest species.
I think in June, there were 1,500 computer scientists and technologists who wrote to Congress calling for more responsible regulation of crypto assets. They said the catastrophes and externalities related to blockchain technologies and crypto asset investments are the inevitable outcomes of a technology that is not built for purpose and will remain forever unsuitable as a foundation for large-scale economic activity.
And so you start to wonder, like, okay, like what's gonna happen? And I know that it really shouldn't surprise me, but a whole new packaging had been in the works and a brand new word was taking the stage.
Our mission at MoonPay is to onboard the world to Web3.
I have to admit, it's a pretty convincing narrative. The first iteration of the internet, Web 1.0, was essentially the first version of the web, mostly consisting of web pages and information. There wasn't much you could actually interact with. Then came along Web 2.0, which brought access to many new features. It focused on user-generated content, social media, and more forms of participation. This version of the internet became dominated by large corporations. Web 2.0 is our current modern-day version of the internet, but now Web 3.0 is coming. It kind of just referred to a bunch of different things, but the idea was that a new version of the internet is here, where your online activity was going to be making use of blockchains and tokens to some degree or another. So in theory, the now centralized version of the internet owned by big tech would become owned now by its users. In its initial bubble, NFTs were seen as just digital art, right? Which is quite limiting. At the end of the day, NFTs are just data on a public database that can act as a receipt of ownership over whatever that data contained. You know, whether it was a coin or it was a web link to a digital piece of art. The idea was that if NFTs could prove ownership over something, then you could put anything on the blockchain. Real estate titles, medical records, university degrees, legal records. In the case of Web3, you'd have social media sites and video games all incorporating blockchain and NFTs into their business model. It didn't really matter what it was or how it would work exactly. It just became this game of insert anything here, but on the blockchain. And just like that, you've made it revolutionary.
You've just recreated the entire mortgage infrastructure that already exists today.
on the blockchain.
But that exactly.
The blockchain in real estate is going to be pretty mainstream 5 to 10 years from now.
You'll see solar grids, electric grids, self-driving car grids that will essentially be machine run and controlled and administered by blockchain.
Best use case for blockchain is healthcare.
What can and can't be turned into an NFT?
So just to throw it out there, we do have interviews actually with people that are tokenizing real estate as an example. And so obviously this video is painting things in a very, very bad light, but people are successful and things are actually getting tokenized right now for real estate. I don't know necessarily on like the medical record side of stuff, but like some of these have actually succeeded.
Ultimately, what we're talking about is the tokenization of everything.
Never mind if blockchains or tokenization actually fixed the issues that it was claiming to solve in these industries. It was literally the definition of a solution in search of a problem.
And then I'm lost as to like why the on the blockchain part matters, besides basically what everyone means is they mean, oh, I want a public record of the transaction. Okay.
I mean, people suggested that you could replace legal contracts with smart contracts, which are programs that are built on the blockchain, and that's usually accompanied with the phrase code is law. This is a smart contract, and this is a legal contract. These two things aren't the same, right? You can't have law be enacted by computer code because law inherently requires third parties to assess evidence, intentions, and a bunch of other variables that you just can't outsource that to computer code, especially when that code is on the blockchain and it cannot be altered. Nicholas Weaver, a researcher and lecturer at UC Berkeley's Department for Computer Science, has this interview with Current Affairs, and he brought up what he called Weaver's iron law of blockchain. When somebody says you can solve X with blockchain, they don't understand X and you can just ignore them. So you start to wonder, right? Who is behind all of this money that's coming and pouring into the crypto and Web3 space? Where is it coming from and why? Either I'm not seeing the revolutionary potential that all of this has, or this genuinely is a massive mania and bubble that is being fueled by greed and delusion.
The so-called next version of the internet that's attracting big money from venture capital.
Venture firm called Andreessen Horowitz. Have you guys heard of it?
I kept seeing this venture capital name pop up.
We've been in the space for a long time.
Kind of a big deal, running the crypto fund with more than $7 billion in capital to deploy.
Andreessen Horowitz, otherwise known as A16Z. They're one of the largest venture capital firms. They have a crypto fund with around $7.6 billion to be invested in crypto and Web3 startups, and have been investing in crypto companies dating back to 2013. If you wanted to meet the smart money behind all of this, then these guys were the best place to start. They say that crypto is far more than just a financial innovation. It's social, cultural, technological. In the month of October of 2021, A16Z led a funding of $150 million towards the company that was behind Axie Infinity. A16Z general partner Ariana Simpson claimed that this was an example of where Web3 is going to revolutionize the internet. In her own words, literally, Axie embodies a new generation of games. What this means for the future of games and really the web as we know it is as big as your imagination will allow. Where do I begin? Axie Infinity was what you would call a play-to-earn game. It was this new genre of games appearing in the Web3 space, which, as the name suggests, allows players to make money when they play the game. In the case of Axie Infinity, what you had was this game where people would breed, collect, and fight with these creatures called Axies. When battling inside the game, it was possible to earn this token called SLP, which could actually be traded for real money. So what started happening? Well, people started playing the game, but instead of focusing on the fun of the game, the focus became on
how to earn more SLP.
How do we profit from Axie Infinity?
The most expensive Axie ever sold was worth about $800,000.
I have invested $13,232.
To even play Axie Infinity, you had to purchase 3 Axie NFTs, right? And as the value of Axie NFTs started to rise, certain players wouldn't be able to afford the buy-in price. So guess what started happening? Those who had the money to buy 3 Axies began to lend their creatures out to players who couldn't afford it. And they were called scholars.
How to set up your own scholarship program as a manager in Axie Infinity.
This was a massive thing at the time. You guys might know people. I knew somebody as well that like would hire people just to play, and they would earn enough off Axie Infinity, depending where they were on the like in the world, it would actually pay them more than having like a full-time job in their country. It was crazy.
I'll be giving out
a scholarship every 2 weeks. So that's another 6 scholarships is my goal.
Scholars would then play the game using their rented Axies, earn SLP, and then give a cut of their earnings to their managers.
My team of 12 scholars was roughly earning me $1,700 a month.
$600 from my scholars.
With all of my current scholarships working, I'm earning about $6,000 a month.
Axie Infinity, a play-to-earn crypto gaming juggernaut that has led people in countries like Philippines and Venezuela to make a living.
These are players from the Philippines who are making a living playing Axie Infinity.
Most of the scholars who couldn't afford the buy-in price, they were from developing countries, right? People who likely saw Axie Infinity not as a game of leisure, but as a means of producing income.
I am here to apply scholarship on Axie Infinity.
I want this scholarship because I want to earn more.
I can play 6 to 12 hours a day just for playing Axie Infinity.
I will treat this as a job, not just only a game.
I want to help my family on their expenses and save up money for my tuition and college.
So I want to be a scholar so that I can meet the needs of my family.
What you ended up with was a game where players are playing in order to make money.
People are basically feeding their entire villages playing our game.
But the only reason that they're making money is because others are buying in to also make money.
In the case of things like Axie Infinity, there actually are a bunch of innocent victims, right? I mean, when you run a pyramid scheme, unfortunately, you get a bunch of poor people in the Philippines who are poor when they start and they're just hoping to make some money, but then what happens is they actually lose money.
The value of SLP, which is the token that people use to actually make money in the game, has fallen 99% since its peak, and its user base has been in decline.
So I'm trying to think of like how to relate this to anything like that happened in like a similar fashion, because Zed Run, which was a game where you could race horses, you could breed them, similar to Axie Infinity, but it was you pay a little bit to enter your horse within these races, and if they place well, then you got like a payout for it. And the thing with Zed Run is that it just got like way too dilutive, where the breeding went kind of out of control. And I think that that was similar in the case of Axie, where certain things could have been sustainable, but just the way the economics ended up playing out without changes, it just, I mean, obviously there was the crypto crash as a whole, but I think a lot of these different games and experiences, there was something fundamentally flawed with the way that the game and the sustainability of it was at various prices.
Since. Times Magazine came out with this article, and it was interviewing this guy called Samason Arias, a line cook from the Philippines who was facing financial stress after his mother had a stroke and electricity and grocery bills were stacking up. Arias jumped into the Axie Infinity game and then exited 14 months later. He described it as boring and stressful. Arias, along with other players of the game, told Times Magazine that Axie Infinity reinforced predatory systems and gave them false hope.
It's already dystopian as hell, but then to say to people that by doing this we are creating opportunity for people in the developing world, that's not just dark, that's fucking evil.
Again, I find myself...
Okay, so, I mean, listen, we could have, like, talks about it. When the price went bad, that was the thing. But, like, again, I think I had 2 friends that were running scholars, and I remember them, like, because I asked them about it, I was like, so how the hell does this work? And I never did it or anything, but it's like, I'm wondering how it is. And, like, they sent me screenshots of, like, families buying tons of groceries, being able to pay rent, and all these things. And, like, obviously, it wasn't, like, incredibly sustainable. It was like, you're playing this game, they're painted in a horrible light, but it felt like there was so many good things that were happening around it, and it depended. So I think there's also a caveat on who was running these scholar teams, because the guys that I knew were like, you know, we're giving them extra things, like we're taking like smaller cuts in this, we're trying to give them their own characters so they're able to play. So it might have been like who's the better like manager, right? And that's why some of the negativity happened around it. But I mean, I recall that when it was going like relatively positively.
Coming back to the same question, what is it that VC firms are seeing the potential in this crypto space? Why do they keep pouring money into it?
The overwhelming majority of tokens are securities.
Yeah.
But they're being dumped onto retail investors. This is being done explicitly by venture firms, I won't mention any names, who are buying into companies early, getting into tokens, and then those tokens are being listed on exchanges. The public
I have insider info. I'm not going to say who the companies are. That's a cop-out. You know what I mean? Like, imagine, all these bad things and people are getting screwed, and you're like, I'm going to take the moral high ground and protect the company. Like, what a chicken shit.
Buying into them in order to get a financial gain. They have no interest in using those tokens for any utility.
VC firms have a commonly used strategy. They invest in a bunch of startups. Most of those startups will fail, a few will succeed, and with the ones that succeed, a VC needs to decide on an exit strategy, an event that allows them to liquidate their position in a company and essentially make money. This is a process that can take years. So there's another idea that is proposed by skeptics, that the world of crypto offers an incentive for VC firms to invest in a crypto company, receive a percentage of their tokens, and then sell those tokens to retail traders when it becomes publicly available, all achievable within months, highly profitable, and fairly unregulated.
With crypto tokens, they can cash out in a few months. And the way that this actually works is they encourage their fundees to basically issue unregistered securities.
January
Anderson
1st.
Horowitz
Came out January 1st, 2023.
invested in a bunch of startups that all issued tokens that all got dumped on retail, including Anderson Horowitz dumping a lot of them on retail. This is blatant securities fraud. But they didn't commit the securities fraud. It was just the companies they invested in.
On the surface, Web3 has this narrative which is all about taking money out of the hands of the rich and the big tech and giving it back to the users. But A16Z is the exact same company that has funded some of the biggest Web2 companies like Facebook and Twitter. I'm sure that there are many inside of these firms that, really believe in the potential of Web3 or crypto or blockchains or whatever buzzword you want to use. But it becomes increasingly harder to see that as anything other than hyper-optimism, or another word for it, delusion. There's this interview with Mark Andreessen, right, who's the co-founder of Andreessen Horowitz, and he's on this podcast episode with an economist and blogger called Tyler Cohen, and he proposes the idea for podcasts to make use of Web3.
A well-known podcast host, how does that person get paid in a better way through Web 3.0? Make that more concrete for us.
Now, Mark Andreessen is someone that, by all accounts, should have a good answer to this question. But instead,
they can pick their business model. They can pick their business model. They can decide a subscription-based business model. Microtransactions. They can pick. They can pick whatever model they want. They can also have indirect. There's this whole new rise of this kind of the non-fungible token.
When pressed,
that's a pretty shitty answer.
to give an actual use case, what you get is an answer with all the right buzzwords and phrases, but little actual substance.
I compare it to the internet. In all seriousness, I compare it to the internet, which is the internet basically.
It's 93 or so.
Yeah, it's 93, 94. This is the only time I've ever said this is like the internet is this.
A16Z uses the same narrative that a lot of crypto enthusiasts will also use. You may hate it, you may think it's a fad, but crypto and Web 3.0 are just like the internet. Even I made this comparison when I looked at the entire space in a more favorable light. Now though, I just think it's another form of smoke and mirrors.
It is the biggest technology shift since the internet. The blockchain, the consumer blockchain, is the biggest new thing since the internet itself.
Bitcoin began in 2009. Arguably, blockchain technology and the foundations for it began even earlier than that. It's been 13 years since this story began with Bitcoin. 13 years to find a solid use case, or at least one that justifies the hype and is already better than an existing system.
Crypto and Web3 is really great at one thing, which is trading and speculation.
And there is absolutely no democratization of anything. There's centralization of exchanges, centralization of miners, centralization of crypto wealth. Is the most concentrated amount of centralized wealth in the history of humanity. Worse than VCs, worse than Wall Street. It's all bullshit.
13 years after 1983, which is considered to be the birth of the internet, we were already seeing very clear-cut use cases. Even in those early days, people could get weather reports, they could check the news, they could send emails, and many other uses that we still use to this day.
I sent a message to my doctor asking for a repeat prescription, and he's left the prescription for me in the chemist.
By even making the comparison to one of the biggest revolutions in information and communication is already assuming that cryptocurrencies are revolutionary and they're bound to find mass adoption at some point, when that is the very future we're putting into question. One recent post that I remember on the Bitcoin subreddit was titled, "Does anyone else feel like Bitcoin is their literal last-ditch effort to become wealthy in their lifetime?"
So, yo, Lil, what's going on? How are we? So this is an interesting point, right? Let's just take this headline for a second. Does anyone else feel like Bitcoin is their literal last-ditch effort to become wealthy in their lifetime? What are you going to do? Buy a stock that ends up popping off? You're going to have a great business idea? I mean, you can put in a ton of work and have it happen, right? 100%. But think about this thought and how it went. BC, when this video dropped, it did. It did. So it's funny that this is painted in such a negative light, but things are still progressing in generally a positive mantra.
I don't imagine that this is the only person in the crypto space that is thinking that way. The crypto machine has continued running. New packaging of ideas, more money funneled into the system, and a constant search to find a use case that justifies the hype and the claims of revolutionary technology. If the critics are right, then what we're looking at is a ticking time bomb. If the critics are right, then this is a scheme that will leave tons of regular individuals left holding their bags, wondering how this managed to happen. It already has. A scheme that managed to infiltrate the realm of media and entertainment, that managed to make use of social media's ability to spread this fear of missing out, that capitalized on greed and a get-rich-quick mentality. If the critics are right, then I suppose there's only one question that remains. At what point does the ticking time bomb go off?
Oh, well. So unbelievable. We get on here and we're going to be doing like a 20-25 minute stream talking about news of the day, the Futureverse happenings, all that good stuff. And somehow we watch a video that has me featured in it that's got like 6 bajillion views talking about crypto being a scam. Gotta love the Wednesday for you. So crazy video again. That's James Johnny. Came out 2 years ago. Sort of negative. Super negative about everything crypto related. But again, they're screaming about it like how everything's a scam and whatnot. And I'll go back to the point that I keep bringing up. It's like second largest crypto in the world, Ethereum, is like half the market cap of Home Depot. Like the company, the stock, Home Depot. Ethereum, the second biggest crypto, is like half the value of Home Depot. So, I mean, things are big, but like... I don't know. Yo, OX054 over in Abstract. Good morning. Sorry, I just saw your message over there. But that's going to be it for this edition of X-Feed. Once again, if you're wanting more content, if you've enjoyed this stream and wanting a little bit more focus on RWAs, we'd love for you to check out the podcast in the YouTube link description down below. Or if you happen to follow me on X, the link's in there. Young Algie, thank you so much for the subs. An absolute freaking legend. We're kind of subscription too. Hell yeah. Hoonzy, thank you so much as well. We got a whole bunch of people in the chat too throughout today. It's been really, really awesome. I see John Lemon, Izzy, Lil, Navi, Snazzy, Siki. It's been an absolute good time. Yo, Money Mitch, good to see you as well. And Island Boy, Cosmin, M. Tolly. Hell yeah. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.